Imagine a learning environment where every child can thrive, no matter how they learn best. Sounds amazing, right? Well, that's exactly what Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, can offer your child. You might be thinking, what exactly is UDL? And how can it help my child succeed in school? Stick around, because today we're breaking it all down and showing you how this powerful approach can transform your child's learning experience. Hi, welcome to Disability Ed Pros. I'm Diana Fannin, epilepsy warrior, school psychologist, special education director, and autism mama. On this channel, I share evidence-based strategies, advocacy tips, and personal insights to empower parents of children with disabilities. So, what is UDL and why does it matter? Let's talk about it. As parents, we all want our children to thrive in school. But when traditional teaching methods don't meet their needs, Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, steps in to bridge the gap. So let's talk about what it really is and what it really looks like. In simple terms, UDL is an educational framework that creates flexible learning environments to meet the diverse needs of all students, including those with disabilities. Think of it like designing an accessible classroom from the ground up, where every child has the opportunity to succeed, regardless of their learning style or ability. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of Universal Design for Learning because it really does help to understand its origins. UDL has roots in universal design from architecture. So think about ramps and automatic doors. They make buildings accessible for everyone. In the late 1990s, researchers at CAST, the Center for Applied Special Technology, applied this concept to education, realizing that lessons with built-in flexibility reach students more effectively. And we have found exactly that. UDL isn't about adding accommodations later. It's about designing learning experiences that support everyone right from the start. To give you an idea of what this looks like in practice, let's think about hosting a dinner party where you're expecting guests with multiple and varying dietary restrictions. How many of you have had this happen, right? I know I have. And I am one of those guests sometimes. You've got one guest who's vegan, another one who has celiac disease and can't have gluten, one who's lactose intolerant and can't have dairy, and another guest who can eat anything, right? There's always one who's kind of the easy one. Now, if you try to make one or two dishes that accommodate all of those different needs, you might end up with a bunch of compromises and maybe something that doesn't taste great. And then someone might still be left out, or you might accidentally use an ingredient that someone can't have. Instead, what you could do is plan something like a taco bar, where each guest can create their own meal according to their dietary needs. By keeping the ingredients separate, so you've got cheese in one dish, the beans in one dish, rice in one dish, corn tortillas, flour tortillas, or maybe you've got, chips. Everyone can make a dish that works for them. Someone can have a taco, someone can have just maybe a taco bowl. You don't have to worry about the cheese being mixed in for the person who can't have dairy. The vegan guest can have lots of plant-based options, and the gluten-free guest can have tacos with corn tortillas instead of flour. Now, think about how this applies to designing a lesson. Instead of trying to adjust one lesson to fit different needs after the fact, UDL helps us design lessons that offer a range of options from the start. Just like the taco bar, you're offering different ways for students to engage, to express their learning, and access the content. And it gives each student what they need, starting from kids who maybe haven't been in school all the way to kids who might be gifted. And that way you don't have to remake the dish for every student. You're creating flexibility and choice so that all students can participate meaningfully, no matter what their strengths or needs are. We'll talk about some examples and what this looks like and how it is a more inclusive way of designing lessons. So UDL really is for all students, and it really does support inclusion in the classroom, and that's one of the reasons I'm here today to talk about it. One of the most important things to understand about Universal Design for Learning is that it's not just for students with disabilities. It is for all students. It's about creating a classroom environment where every learner can thrive, regardless of their needs or abilities. But here's where it really benefits students with disabilities. When teachers plan using UDL, they're building flexibility into the lesson from the start. Instead of adding accommodations later or creating separate activities, general education teachers are able to plan lessons that meet a wide range of needs from the beginning. This makes learning more inclusive and more accessible for everyone, not just for students with individualized education programs, IEPs, or 504 plans, but it does really help students who have disabilities or who need additional accommodations. So now, how does UDL support general education teachers? Because it does. I know that our teachers have so much work to do and often feel overwhelmed by the wide variety of students who are in their classroom. So when general education teachers use UDL principles, they are better equipped to support all the learners in their classroom, especially students with disabilities. It allows teachers to plan lessons that offer different ways to engage, to represent information, and to express understanding. It is a proactive approach that reduces the need for constant adaptations, for that constant changing and switching, because they've already thought about that in advance. It helps teachers to feel more confident in meeting the needs of the students with disabilities alongside their peers. UDL makes inclusion not just possible, but effective. It creates a space where students with disabilities aren't being pulled out for separate instruction as often, but instead are participating in the same lessons as their peers with adjustments that benefit everyone. It also means that teachers are planning ahead and pre-designing that scaffolding for the lesson. It might seem like more of a challenge to plan this way, but once teachers get the hang of it, the hang of this style of planning, it makes it easier for teachers during the lesson and easier for the students as well. How does UDL benefit your child and all of the children in the classroom? So what does it look like in practice? UDL is based on 3 key principles that create more inclusive learning. So the first one is engagement. How do we keep your child interested and motivated? And the second one, representation. How do we present information in different ways that fit your child's learning style? And then the third one is action and expression. How can your child show what they've learned in ways that work best for them? So let's dive into each principle in a little more detail so you can see how it applies to your child's education and what it might look like. Starting with engagement. UDL recognizes that no 2 children are the same when it comes to what sparks their interest. Teachers using UDL offer different ways to engage students, such as incorporating their interests into lessons, using interactive activities, or allowing choices in assignments. This is especially helpful for students who may not respond well to traditional teaching methods, sitting in chairs, copying off the board, not moving. As a parent, you can help by sharing with teachers what excites your child so they can create lessons that truly engage them, bring them in. I've seen kids perk up when a teacher mentions fencing or some activity that they could never imagine their teacher knows about them. Now, making learning accessible through representation. When we talk about representation with UDL, that is what encourages teachers to present information in various formats because every child learns differently. Some children are visual learners, while other children learn better through listening or hands-on experiences. That's where we talk about our kinesthetic learners who like to move a lot. UDL helps teachers to provide options so that all students, including your child, can access and understand the material. For example, if your child struggles with reading, they might benefit from audiobooks or visual aids. If math is tough, hands-on tools can make it easier. Are we using real-world examples? Are we able to use manipulatives and move things around? The goal is to make learning accessible no matter how your child learns best. Third principle is action and expression. Not every child excels at traditional tests or written essays. With UDL, students can demonstrate what they've learned in ways that suit them best, whether that's through a project, a presentation, artwork, or even a video. We have lots of kids who really like doing that kind of thing now. As a parent, you can advocate for these alternatives if you think traditional methods don't reflect your child's abilities. This kind of flexibility can build their confidence and lead to greater success because they'll get to show that they really do know what they're learning, and they just couldn't do it in a paper and pencil test. Now, how parents can support UDL at home and at school. What can you do? How can you support this? Start by talking with your child's teachers. Share what you know about how your child learns best, and ask how they're using UDL in the classroom. At home, you can also incorporate different ways of learning, using hands-on activities, technology, or offering choices when tackling homework. There are ways to bring this into the home environment because you are your child's greatest advocate. By working closely with their teachers, you can help ensure that your child is learning in ways that best support them. Universal Design for Learning is all about creating accessible, flexible learning experiences that benefit all students. And as parents, you're a vital part of this process. You'll see in the description some resources that I'm going to link. And if you're curious about how it can be applied to your child's education, check them out. Thank you for watching, as always. Any questions, drop them in the comments. Together, we can make a difference in the education that everyone is receiving, and we can improve it for everyone. See you next time.